We were taught from early on that family always comes first. We are to always forgive and to forget those who we hold nearest and dearest to our hearts. But when is the right time to cut the cord? When do we walk away from the very ones that we thought we would die beside?
It's usually until death do us part apart. Let's talk about it.
You're muted.
You can still hear me, right? I
Is I think you're probably too close.
I love you. Oh, cow. Hi, my loves.
Hi.
So, what are we drinking today?
A homemade version of the pink drink, the little pinkity drinkity from Starbucks.
I have nothing but water this time around. So,
Ugh.
I'm being healthy, okay?
All right, fine, I'll forgive you.
So, today on this episode, I want to talk about Abby Cho. I'm sure you all heard the story. I don't know if you have, Tony, but I know
not at all. Not at all.
But I know the story was going around TikTok I believe it was a few months back. I'm not really sure. I can't really pinpoint it. I think it was last year that the story broke, you know? But I was on TikTok and I was so englued, and there was so much about this story that was coming out day by day by day. And it was legit all over my feeds. And I was basically ignoring it, you know, I ignored it and I walked away. But a few days ago, I was scrolling through TikTok again, and the story caught my attention yet again.
Oh, so it basically resurfaced, like the whole
yeah.
Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber, and Selena Gomez thing. You know how it went away and came back?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't do so much of my research when it came to the story, so I'm basically going based off of what TikTok said and what I learned from TikTok. It was all over the feeds, and I really want to talk about it.
So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So Abby Cho was a popular Asian model. Don't know, I can't pinpoint where in Asia she was. I think she was mainly in Tokyo. I could be wrong, I'm not sure. But she was somewhere in Asia. She was a huge hit, you know? And she was also a Nepo baby. So she was born a Nepo baby. A Nepo? Something like that. They call it Nepo baby. They call it, it basically means someone that was born rich into a rich family, you know?
I thought you said a nipple baby. Like a nipple, like from the boobs. That sounds like a what? Nympho. No, a nympho is somebody that likes to have a lot of sex. Okay, guys, so it's not a nipple and it's not a nympho. But it's a rich person. She was born into her money, okay?
Yeah.
We're going to go with that.
Yeah, let's just do that. Yeah. So, but it's a very popular freaking term now that like even people, like a bunch of people use it for the rich that just like legit was born into money. Like the Jenner sisters, like Hailey Bieber herself, people like that, you know, that were basically born into the lifestyle, and didn't really have to do anything to get there. But apparently, Abby Cho was, she loved to take care of animals. She even opened a shelter for them, you know, and a hospital to like nurse wounded animals that were you know, ran over in the streets or something like that, just to help them get back on their feet and stuff. And you know, she did a lot for what she was doing, for being as rich as she was, I guess. I never really dig through it to where it was like whether she was mean or, you know, she was one of those, you know, silent type nice girls, but probably mean on the background. But from what I did read, Yeah, like a mean girl. Like from what I did read, she everybody liked her, you know? They said she was super nice, she was super sweet. She would basically help whoever needed her help type thing. So, she ended up marrying this man that's father owns a famous noodle shop in I believe I don't know where they're from, but in somewhere in Asia. um he owned a noodle shop, and his noodle shop was going down. So when he heard that his son was marrying Abby Show, he was super excited about it. He was extremely excited about it. And he was like, yeah, go ahead and marry her. And so she that's what exactly what the son did. He married her, and everything was fine, everything was good. They ended up living a rich lifestyle with fantastic, you know, vacation trips, to the point where they really honestly didn't need to work, because not only was she a famous model and she was making her own money, but she also came from money, you know. So she was
double.
billions.
So she was double. She had that, you know, nipple money. And then she also was making money on top of that. So it's basically whatever she wasted, she just put right back into the bank.
Exactly. So she was making that money, and they were living the lavish lifestyle. It got to the point where I guess, you know how when you have money, you get greedy, you know? So, along those lines, she was basically giving them everything that they ever wanted. And then one moment to the next, they ended up divorcing. You know, her and her ex-husband. They ended up divorcing. She still kept in contact with them. She still ended up helping them out even after the divorce. After she completely lost ties with them, everything, like severed ties with you know, the marriage or whatever. And she ended up like legit still paying for all the expenses in their lavish lifestyle. She even gave them a freaking apartment that was under the father's name, and they bought it cash outright, you know?
Okay.
So they were fine. They were legit fine, and they could have just walked away and lived their life the way that they, you know, they could have. But you know how the saying goes, money is the root of all evil. So anyway, so there she goes ahead, and she's paying for their lifestyle even after the divorce. She even ends up remarrying, you know, I don't know whether it was a few months later or a few years later, I'm not sure, but she ended up remarrying this man that I guess she had a common with, and she was in love with him or whatever, and they even had a kid, you know. So she was if I remember correctly, they said that she had four kids by this man.
This is by the
second husband.
So 4 kids by the second. Did she have any with the first?
I don't think so. I could be wrong though. Maybe 2 of them are his. I'm not sure, you know? But I do know that they were saying that the kids were the husband, the one that her current husband, you know? Yeah, I wasn't sure about exactly who, you know, fathered the kids. All I know is that she had 4 kids. I could be wrong, you know. I really didn't, like I said, I didn't do my research on this. So she had kids, and the day, her ex-brother-in-law, sorry, because these like whole family, you know, ties can actually get confusing, but her ex-brother-in-law came to her asking for a job, in desperate need of a job, you know, and she was like, I'll help you out. And she was like, I'll let you be my basically my chauffeur. So he's chauffeuring her all over the place.
See, that's really nice of her, because I don't know how many people are gonna, they would hire their brother, they'll hire their brother-in-law, but to hire the ex-brother-in-law, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not something that you come across every day type of thing, you know? Like, usually, like, people get divorced and it's just like, oh, well, that's not my family, and they be like, oh, my brother needs a job. It's like, that has nothing to do with me. So that's really nice of her.
Yep, I agree. I thought that was I mean, I wouldn't, you know. But
I don't know, I think it also depends on how they break up, you know, like if it was a mutual separation. They could be friends and things like that, cordial, or maybe she has a love for the kids or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it just all depends on
Yeah,
how that goes.
yeah, it all depends on the situation and the breakup and all that other stuff. But to keep in contact with the family, I would assume that the breakup didn't, wasn't an extreme thing, So that could probably be as to why she decided, hey, let's, you could be my driver, make
Mm-hmm.
money and all of this stuff. So he went ahead and he started chauffeuring her around, and he even posted pictures, because he was making a decent amount of money, you know, and he to still keep up with the lifestyle that he had. So he went ahead and started posting on Instagram, the inside of the car that he drives when he takes her over, to places. He started, posting brand deals and stuff like that, and all that other stuff. So he basically had his foot in the door with her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So one day, he was supposed to take her to pick up her daughter from kindergarten. And when she got in the car, she never made it to the school.
What?
Yeah, she never made it to the school. According to reports, she was something bashed her in her head during the car ride, and she was knocked out unconscious.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was
And
like
then,
what do you call it? A sucker punch, like when they
yeah,
get you and you don't even know it. That's crazy.
yeah. So she was knocked out cold, and they even said she was alive when the chauffeur, her ex brother-in-law, dropped her off at a residence that was rented out. And inside those resident in that apartment, that residency, was waiting the brother-in-law, well, not the brother-in-law, but the father-in-law and the ex-husband. And when they brought her in, they ended up killing her. They dismembered her body. They boiled her head and made it into a soup.
What the heck? Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. So say that again.
They dismembered her body.
He was
They
dismembered.
took her head
Mm-hmm.
and boiled it into a pot to make soup.
Yo, no. Mm-mm.
Yes.
That is okay. The dismemberment, I mean, killing her should have been sufficient enough. Dismemberment feels like a little personal. But you want to eat her head? Like that's like a crime of passion to kill the person after they're already dead. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, no, they took her legs. They took both of her legs. They sew it off of her. They said they found the torso. They found her torso. They found her foot, you know, and her legs. They couldn't find her arms, or her hands. They don't know where those went, But that's basically all that they were able to find. They couldn't find. They legit like scattered her pieces in a meat grinder and started meat grinding it and stuff. Like,
Oh my gosh.
this was extremely horrendous. You get what I'm saying?
I never heard of this story before. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I never heard of this.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're like, oh yeah, like this was, a big deal not so long ago, maybe, a few years ago, but I never heard of this. I did hear of a different story. And when you started speaking, I was thinking maybe that was the story that you're gonna go with. But
Yeah.
this is completely something different.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, like when I heard it, I was just like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it was crazy. And then when even the neighbors in next to the building said they heard screaming,
And they never
bloody
called the cops.
screaming. I didn't get into this. I didn't see it or anything like that. I didn't reach like I said, I didn't do my research,
No, no, of
so
course.
I
It's
don't know
just
whether the
no. I
people
mean,
called.
no, I meant that like just they couldn't call the cops. Like they
Yeah,
hear her
yeah, yeah, yeah.
screaming and they couldn't
Then
call the
you would
cops.
think, right? You would think you would
Right.
hear like, ah, like you would think somebody would, call the cops. But yeah, yeah, yeah. It was horrible. And then the police report said that the motive for them doing such horrible, horrendous things to this woman was because they didn't like the way she was spending her money.
You
That was
got
the
to
report.
be kidding me.
Yeah, that was legit to the report, and that's a fact. I know because I was like, what, because the
No,
freaking
they
reasoning just
didn't
mind
like
blown me.
the way she was spending her money. Like, what? The money that she worked for?
Exactly.
The money that she was born into? The money that she was supplying them and taking care of them in, they didn't like that? No. Mm-mm. That is bogus.
That's basically what they thought. They were like that. It had to me. It had to be much more than that because to dismember and to freaking throw her head in a freaking soup, pot, and then to make soup out of her head, and then to dismember her feet and torso and her arms. Probably her breast too, for all I know. Like to do all of that and then put her on a meat grinder. To do all of that. And you're gonna sit there and tell me that you only did it because you didn't like the way she was spending her money? That's not your freaking money.
Exactly. Like that was exactly where my head is at, where it's just like it's not even your money to worry about. Like if it was your money, I could understand why you would get upset. And maybe they felt a little too entitled, being that she was so generous with it, where she's getting them a house and doing all of that stuff. They probably felt entitled. But just because you feel entitled doesn't literally mean that it's yours,
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
That is crazy.
Yeah. I was like, I needed to do it. And I know I saw the story last year. I just don't know when exactly last year that I saw it. But it was a legit big thing in the Asian TikTok, And since I follow, I follow anime, I follow, Asian
Everything.
soap operas and stuff like that. It's just, you're gonna find out. So it came on my feeds, and when it came through, I was just like, what the heck, And it was all over it. And then I was like, you know what? And then a few days ago, this girl, I was again scrolling through TikTok, and the girl was talking about it. And you know what? I was like, yeah, I want to talk about this because I know I remember it. I vaguely remember it, but I really do want to talk about it. And now we're here. So, but yeah, like that was horrible. Like I even saw videos of the mom going to where they were gonna bury her, and they were doing like, how Asians, they believe like if you're dismembered, your soul is basically ripped apart.
Actually, no, I know nothing. I know nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm no good. I know nothing.
Yeah. When they believe that when somebody dismembers your body, they're ripping apart your soul, So in order for your soul to come back together, you're gonna have to find all the pieces, or do a dance, a ritual dance, or like a festive dance during the funeral to try to get her soul back together so that she can go to the afterlife.
Yo, so that means wow. So the fact that they dismembered her, it was like, all right, you know what? Your soul's gonna be ripped apart right along with your limbs. But then it was like, nah, forget that. I boiled her and put her through a meat grinder. Like they were like, they never gonna put you back together.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Like that is malicious.
Yes.
That's horrible.
Yes. That's basically that's how they believe it. They believe that the soul is ripped out when you're being dismembered and stuff like that. So during her during her funeral, they did a wake where they had people, shamans, priests, or whatever you want to call them, come in and, do the dancing to try to bring her soul back together again. And the whole time, the mom is crying and says she's never going to see her daughter in the afterlife.
Well, based off of their belief, and whatever
Yeah.
God it is they believe in, I hope literally that their God has mercy. And, it's like, you know what? She didn't deserve this. Like, let me put her back together for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's heavy. Like, especially if that was my belief, and then to find your daughter, like, not only dead, just that in itself is horrible for a parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're dead. But to be dead and then dismembered, it's like, okay, like, you're dead, I'm gonna cry. You're dismembered, I'm gonna freak out. But then it's just like, no, wait, there's more.
Yeah.
And it's wow. That's wow.
Yeah, that's the story I got on Abby Cho. And I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to talk about it and see. But like, would you ever would you trust your in-laws, like, after you divorce your husband and all that other stuff, to work for you, or you work for them?
I think it all depends on the family, because there's people that you can break up with and still have a good union with. And I don't know if I would trust them to run my business. I don't know if I would trust them with my social security number, things like that. But to have you as an employee, and let's say we're still good, then I have no issues with you. In the sense that, like, God forbid, my husband and I was to split, and my brother-in-law and I still get along, where it's like, hey, you gotta pick up the kids today, and this and the third, and we can have that conversation. And if I'm in a position where I'm able to bless them with a job, I'm gonna be like, you know what? Taking care of you is gonna take care of my kids, because when
Right.
my kids go to visit you, you're gonna have a roof over your head, you're gonna have food, because I'm helping to make sure that happens.
Right.
But let's say, God forbid, again, my husband and I was to split, or whatever the case might be, and it's toxic, and I can't even have a conversation with my brother-in-law, because it's gonna be like, F you, you this, you that, you hoe, you blah, 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 so on and so forth. Then it's just like, yeah, no, like, go get your own job. You know what I'm saying? So I think it also depends based off of the relationship that's already created in my situation between my brother-in-law and I, or in her situation. Like, maybe they didn't have any, or maybe she assumed that there was no bad thing between them. So it was just like, you know what, like, I still love you. Like, I might not be, married to your brother, but I still see you like my brother-in-law. Like, that could have been her mental state, like what she saw, how she viewed him as, and the other family members, where it's like, you know what, like, you need a place to rest your head. I don't want you in the street. I love you. I still got a whole bunch of love for you. Again, what happened between me and the ex ain't got nothing to do with you. I got you. But I think that what you mentioned earlier, like, they just got too comfortable. Yeah. And they started to think that her money was their money, because if their reason is real, where it's like they didn't like how she was spending the money, then that means that they felt so entitled to her money. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, no, homeboy, you're in it, you got it, you're living this lifestyle, but it's not yours. And they just felt too entitled to where it's like, no, this is mine. This belongs to me. You're spending my money. If you're spending it, then that means you don't got enough for me. And it's just like, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. And it shows to be a problem because of what happened. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm not laughing at the situation. I know it sounded like I was, but
yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, it's freaking crazy, and I think it's ridiculous that not only the brother-in-law got in on it, but also the father-in-law, and then her own ex-husband did the same. Like, they were.
I mean, the ex-husband it's the ex-husband. You know what I'm saying? Like, if
Yeah,
you be like,
yeah.
oh, the ex-husband killed the wife, you'd be like, you know what? I can see it happening, but the father-in-law, the brother-in-law, it's just like, what's she mean? And nobody deserves to be murdered. So I'm gonna say this question, just take it lightly. But like, did she deserve it? Was she controlling with the money? You know what I'm saying? Was it on something like, this is my money? If you continue, you're gonna be living in the streets. Like, what's like? We don't know this. It's not
Yeah, we don't.
justifiable, but if you could probably understand the motive, you could probably understand why they felt to do something like that. But to have their response to legit just be on some like, we didn't like the way she was spending her money. It's like, excuse me,
Mhm.
what? What?
Yeah,
Like, we didn't
yeah.
like the way she was spending her money. And it's like, excuse me,
It
I'm
was in Hong
sorry.
Kong, by the way. She was a Hong Kong model. I finally looked it up.
Okay. Well, there you guys have
She
it.
was
Hong
28.
Kong 28 Abby Cho,
She
right?
was reported
Cho?
missing. Yeah, Abby
Okay.
Cho.
So Abby Cho, ABBYCHO, was murdered, 28, model, Hong Kong. Boom.
Yeah, it says police said a meat slicer was used, an electrical saw, and some other clothes were also found at the home. So,
But hold on. Whatever happened to the kid? The one that she was going to pick up that led to her death. Like, did you hear anything about that?
I don't know. I didn't hear anything about it, but I would assume or I would think that the child or the school probably got in contact with her husband and was like, your wife never showed up to
But the
pick up.
husband was in the murder. Oh
No,
no, wait, wait,
her
wait.
new
That's not.
husband.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that she would, the new husband would have gotten a call from the school saying, "Hey, your wife never came to pick up your child," So
Right.
then he'd had to go pick her up, and then, because it said they reported her missing 2 days, like within the few hours or whatever, not 2 days.
Right, right, right. It slipped my mind, my bad.
Yeah, so that's basically how it was. So yeah, they found her. They found her in a refrigerator,
It's always the refrigerator.
right?
It's to because I know that like it slows down the decomposition, the whatever, the breakdown of the body and stuff like that. So I get it, but it's like, yo, you're gonna freaking slice her up and put her through a meat grinder and boil her head. Like, at least put her head in the refrigerator like you would do with regular soup. Like, excuse me, what's going on?
Yeah, see,
But
it says a pair of female legs were found inside the refrigerator while the skull was fin while the skull was fished from a cooking pot.
and then
Another
fished. Oh my
mhm,
gosh.
another cook another cooking pot contained suspect's flesh.
Mm. Mm-mm.
One of the
Mm-mm.
vessels were filled with green radish, carrots, and a meat believing to be human flesh swimming in a liquid taupe with a thick layer of fat.
Yo, they made her into chicken noodle soup.
They made her into a freaking chicken noodle soup.
Chicken noodle soup.
They
Chicken
were
noodle
gonna
soup.
freaking eat
Chicken noodle
her.
soup. Soda on the side. Chicken noodle. Oh, anyways, I got sidetracked. My bad. That 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 is wild, and that is so sad. In all honesty, like I'm not trying to. I know, like I'm, joking around and stuff like that, but this is so sad in so many different ways because her being 28 years old, that means she was young.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm older than her now from the time, I don't know how, when, like, how old she was entirely, but it being 28 years old, I'm 36. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's young. And if it was last year, then, I was, excuse me, 35 going into 36. So I was still older than her, even at the time of her death. You know, if it is 4 kids, now these 4 kids are growing up without their mother. You know, a husband no longer has his comforter and doesn't have his helpmate. And if this was like the love of his life, even though he could probably find someone later on in the future if he hasn't moved on already, if it was the, you know, the love of his life, his soulmate, there's always going to be that empty void. And just to know that it was taken off of selfishness, selfish motivations.
It's really selfish,
you know,
reasons,
like
because it says she has financial disputes involving tens of millions of dollars with her ex-husband and his family. Police said earlier, adding that some people were unhappy with how Cho handled her finances. Less than a week before her gruesome death, the model shared her cover photo for the luxury fashion magazine Lo Official Monaco, writing in the caption, "My journey as a stylist icon continues." Investigators believe that Cho's unemployed ex-husband and his family murdered her over a multi-million-dollar property in the exclusive enclave of Connery Hill in Han Mon Tin.
Wow.
So it was all for money. No, all of that was just for money.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not, you know, death is never justifiable. Mm-hmm. But if she was a horrible person, like let's say she was taunting them with the money, let's say it was on some like every 2 weeks, oh, if you don't do the hokey pokey when I tell you on camera, I'm gonna take the money away from you. Like, if it's, again, murder's murder, so it's never a good thing. But if people are led to it, like if she was being a bully or something, it's not justifiable, but I can understand how a person can feel motivated to want to commit such a crime, if that makes sense. You know, like, I'm not condoning it, but I can understand. You know, like when a woman's being battered, or even a man's being battered by the spouse and stuff like that, and then they build up that rage of, you know, they're always feeling helpless and things, and they feel like they have their back up against the wall, and then one day they just let loose, and then it's just like, boom, that abusive spouse is dead. And it's like, wow, like this person died, but you can understand why the murderer did what they did, because it's just like, yo, like, you dealt with it all these years, it was building up, it just got worse and worse, and it would make sense in your head, or at least in my head. Again, it's not justifiable. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying go, you know, kill people and stuff like that. But it's like, okay, I get where you were coming from. And maybe if I was in your shoes, I would do that. But just to say like it was over property disputes, or the way that she was spending her money and all this stuff, it's not logical. It makes no sense.
Exactly. It makes no sense. Also about the kids, two of the kids were, she did have 4 kids. 2 of her kids were from her previous marriage, and 2 of her was from her current, you know? So 2 and 2.
Okay. So we got 2 kids that lost their parents because I'm sure he's in jail. So even though he is still alive, he's in jail. And then they have the mom who's deceased. They're having to live with that, knowing that their father and, you know, grandpa and uncle are the reasons as to why their mother's no longer.
Their mom. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then you got the other ones who are going to be like, my half siblings family is the reason. That could bring a rift between those siblings. Like, now what if the present husband doesn't want his children to be around the half siblings because he's fearful that they're going to do something to his kids? Like, this trickle effect just went beyond the ex-lovers. You know, like, this is crazy. This goes deeper than what I thought it would.
Yeah.
Like, me, you know, like going into it and thinking and being the type of person that I am, you know, it's just like, wait, like, what? Like, make it make sense, please, because the math ain't math, and you were in that moment and you thought about yourself and whatever, but now we got children that are being affected by it. And it's not even as the way you know, the assumption was that the 4 kids were from the second marriage. No, it's 2 and 2. So now we don't even know if and those 4 kids are the only 4 kids that know what they're experiencing because they lost the same person. And now we don't even know if they're going to even be able to grow up with one another. they're gonna hate one another, or do they have to, have secret relationship because husband number two doesn't want his children mixed up with the others? It's things like that that just has me like, wow.
And then they said seven were arrested. Seven.
Seven?
Yes. So basically, her ex-husband, her ex-brother-in-law, her ex-father-in-law did the crime, but there was the other four that basically tried to help them escape.
Oh, okay, got it. I get it.
Yeah, so they were also caught. So it was seven, and then the mom, the mother of, I guess the mother-in-law. She was preventing the course of justice. Yeah.
Wow. This goes deeper.
Yes, it's horrible. It's okay. So she was basically reported missing February 22nd, 2023. So
wait, so that's this year?
Yeah. So
wait, that's right now.
That was right now. Yes. I don't know why my brain thought it was a year ago or a few months ago, but I was close.
No, you was not. You was way off. You said, I remember seeing this on TikTok all last year. Girl, when?
I mean, I said a couple of months ago, okay? I had to elaborate. I believe it was a few years ago, a couple of months ago. But now that I'm reading the article, it was this year, February.
That's like 2 weeks ago, right? No,
yeah.
Almost 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. When you first started talking about the story, I thought, sorry, I was munching. I thought it was, I don't even know. I'm going to end up messing up the story entirely. Forgive me in advance. There was a story that did happen years ago. I can literally say years ago. I know it was more than 5 years. And it was a woman, an Asian woman. I really don't know where in the Asian section she falls into, but she was married into a rich family. I believe the people were Caucasian or whatever. I don't know the details, so I'm gonna mess this up, but it is a famous one. It's one that goes unsolved, and it was a woman that her son ended up dying, and they were trying to figure out how the child died, and they try to make it as if it was accidental. And if I'm not mistaken, up to this very day, it still goes down as something that's unsolved. I believe that the child was like on the second floor, but it wasn't even a whole floor. Like obviously it had like the bedrooms and stuff like that.
Oh, I know what story you're talking about.
The hallway was more like just literally a hall walkway, and the kid was like on a what is that, three-wheel, a tricycle. He was on a tricycle or whatever, and if I'm not mistaken, like somehow the tricycle stopped and he kind of like flew over the balcony and ended up dying, and they were trying to like blame the mom or whatever, and then they couldn't, and then she ended up being dead, but they tried to make it seem as though it was suicide. And I think she was like butt naked hanging out a window, like the back patio window or something like that. And then they tried to make it seem as if it was suicide, but there was like a message inside the house, and I believe it was written in her blood. I really do not know the story like that. I've seen so many documentaries where they involve the story, but they don't have much to go on. I think I've heard podcasts. I know I've seen videos on YouTube regarding like this crime, the channels that do like crime talk shows.
I know what you're talking about. She ended up marrying into a rich family, right? Well, her husband was rich or whatever. And the kid ended up going to the hospital, and he ended up in a coma.
So he didn't die. See what I'm saying? I really don't know the story like that.
So everybody believed that the uncle, or the uncle, I believe he was the little kid's mother, brother, was the one that killed her, because it was just weird the way that they said that she was tied up and all that other stuff. Like they said that she was probably into some weird things like bondage and stuff, but I don't see how somebody can actually tie themselves up that way and then like legit throw themselves off a balcony from their bedside all the way to the window. It just doesn't make sense to me. The whole case didn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
So
like
I honestly believe somebody killed her.
I believe so too, but
Killed
again,
her.
like I don't I don't know the information. Like if I see it, I'm gonna be like, that's the one. I'm gonna be like, ah yeah. You know, like this is it. But I myself don't know, but that's who I thought you was talking about when you first started. When you're like, oh, the ladies from Asia and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, I know, I already know where this is going. So when you started giving the facts that you was able to take in and provide us with the information that you have, I'm like, wait, hold on, what? I'm like, this isn't it. And that's why I was really quiet, because I'm like, I need to listen. I need to hear this, you know, because
Yeah.
it's like if I'm hearing it for the first time, and I guess you too, because you thought this was last year, so you was
Yeah, I don't
in
know
a
where
whole
my
other
brain was.
story.
I think it's because you know what it was? It's because I got so much crap going on, in my head that I thought it was this year,
Yeah,
and then
but
it
you
was like,
killed her
no,
a
it's a
year
couple of
earlier.
months. I'm sorry. Okay, I thought it was a freaking couple of like I could have thought that it was. I didn't think it was in February because I don't even remember being on TikTok on February. I don't know where I saw. I know I saw it somewhere. I just didn't know when I saw it, what, you know, where it was. But I believe that if I'm right, I gotta dig more deeper into it. That they didn't like they legit didn't find her right away. Like she became a missing person for a while. If I am right, I am not sure. I haven't looked at it, but I think that's what it is.
Well, for your sake, I hope you're right, because you killed her last year,
I know.
and then now this. So, for your sake, I hope you're right. No, but this is really a tragedy. Like, this is legit. Like, so sad.
Yeah, so the suspect planned her murder for weeks. So they had this crap planned out.
Mm.
And then some of the body parts were found, but not all of it. They're still missing.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That is not okay.
Yeah. That is it's a sad story. It's a sad story. But other than that, even though the atmosphere right now is like, ooh, let's get to the questions. And I have a lot of questions for you guys, the viewers.
Well, let's not, make them have to study for this.
No, we're not.
I don't want them to be like, what?
No. It's just legit like questions, because I want to know what you guys would think. Like, would you still pay for your ex-husband or boyfriend's expenses after you guys break up? I would think it would be depending on the situation.
I think it's a situational type of thing on my end. Like, as I mentioned earlier, like, it depends how we split. It depends, because if I can't afford to feed myself, I'm sorry, I'm not feeding you. You're gonna have to go find your own way. Like, that's number one. Like,
Right.
If I can't feed me, I ain't feeding you. Especially like if you've grown, then that means that you're able. If you're able and capable, then if I can, I will. And it also depends on how we are with one another.
I definitely agree on that. I can agree with that. Yeah. The next question is, would you be kind enough to offer your ex-family member a job?
Yeah, I already explained that. So it depends.
It depends. Yeah, it depends. Like, I think I'm gonna have to stalk them on social media now that I know about this story. You know what I'm saying?
She
And I'll
said
have to,
stalk them on social media.
side-
Girl, no.
side-
No. Social media is fake. Everybody pretty, everybody. Oh, excuse me. Everybody's pretty. Everybody, it's like, oh, well, look at me, I'm filtered. Oh my gosh, my husband loves me.
Yeah,
and then
but
they
us
got
regular
divorced.
people don't do all of that. You get what
Who's
I'm saying?
regular? But who's regular though? Let's be honest. Who's regular?
Well, I mean, people that are straight up honest of their Facebook and actually be like, because it's like you say, like when you find a job, that your boss or whoever your employee is looking at social media, because they can find out more stuff about you on social media than they could ever find, anywhere else. So I believe that people put things out there that gives them hint on how they are or how they portray themselves to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, if you think about it, no matter what persona you put out there on social media, if you know the person, like if you see them face to face, you're gonna look at them and be like, they look nothing like they did in social media. They act no way near the way they act on social media, So you get two sides of a person like that, and then you'll be like, yeah, I can't trust this person.
I know, but social media is definitely not the place to go.
Media. Yeah, I agree. I understand what you're coming from. Final question. Do you think what they did was worth the risk?
Negative. I'm sorry. Shorty was busy taking care of them. She was giving them money. They had a job. They had a whole house or apartment because of her. And now she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if they were to get away with it, what were they going to do? She was dead. So
I don't even think that they were going to benefit money off of her even after she died. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, with her being alive, they benefit because they still had a job. Mm-hmm. They still had a place over their head. They still had all of that. Like, let's say even if she was telling them like, hey, listen, you got until the end of the year and I'm gonna, pull away. I'm no longer with your son/brother anymore. It's bothering my husband and all that stuff. Even if that was to happen, the fact that she did everything that she did, and then she's still like, hey, ex-brother-in-law, you still got this job. There was still some sort of income that was coming in.
Yeah.
And now that she is deceased, there's no job. Like, even if they got away with it, he would now have no job because there's no one to drive around. Yeah. And if she was the one paying the mortgage and stuff like that on the house or the apartment or condo or whatever living situation they were in, with her being dead, there's no payments coming from her end on their behalf. So it wasn't worth it at all. On top of that, they got arrested. I'm assuming they got arrested because the story's out. So now you in jail. You went from being taken care of, like you was a sugar baby, and now you somebody baby in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm-hmm. For real. Facts. That's facts right there. Like, you just messed up. Like, you legit messed up. Like, the piggy bank you guys had,
right,
broke. So, yeah. So apparently she went ahead and all her assets and everything was given to her family. So she already had a will already stated.
Basically, you see what I'm... Oh my gosh, they stupid.
Yeah. So everything went to her mom and her dad. Like, basically they became billionaires.
Oh, and they were already rich.
Right. Already rich. And on top of that, their daughter gave them more money. Like, But that's it for this story, guys.
Thank you, my peoples. Let us know down in the comment section or send us an email. We have our link in the description box below, and we would love to hear your responses to the questions that we have today. Well, that's all for tonight. And thank you for tuning in to Chitty Chat Chit Chat Podcast.
Bye. Bye.